Hey, smile, be happy. Piccia is
Yay.
here to make your rubbishy websites become loads better. That's such a bad slogan, but I'm going with that. Make your rubbishy
Thank you for
websites.
being my wonderful PR,
Yeah,
Nathan.
yeah.
That was excellent. Let's
Thank you.
insult
You're very
hunters, yeah,
welcome.
shall we?
It's an
Let's
absolute
insult them.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure having Piccia back. We're changing it up a bit this time around. Piccia's decided that she wants to change the format of this show. First of all, though, Piccia, just before we get into that, do you want to just say hi and introduce yourself properly so that people know who you are?
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here again. This is the first episode of a new edition of the UX and UI show, which, for a change, will happen once a month. Unlike
We'll
in the past, whereas we were just pretending. So I am a UX and UI designer, which one day we'll do an episode about this, whether you can be UX and UI or not. Yes, you can, but we'll discuss it because lots of people say you can't. And I have been around quite a while, enough to have designed my first book on a Mac Classic, like on the tiny screen. That one, really, literally that big on Quark Express.
You had to shovel coal into it to keep it going. That's how.
Shovel coal into it. Absolutely. I had a little dynamo kind of thing that I was.
To keep cycling.
Yeah. So it kept me warm as well because I was in a country house in Tuscany with no heating, so it was really very, very, very crafty. Anyway, and I'm really fixated with giving people a good digital experience these days, and that includes also accessibility and just generally giving people what they need when they visit our products, our websites, our apps, or whatever it is. Because I firmly believe that there is a sweet spot where the business needs are served, so you make money because you need to make money, otherwise there's no point, but also where the customers' needs are served as well, so they get what they need. By the way, Nathan, did you hear the ambulance?
I can hear the ambulance, but I'm going to ignore it because it's not your fault.
Well, the thing is that I can hear it way louder than you can.
Yes.
Even though it is hot, I shall actually shut the window. It's a live show. These things can happen, can't they?
Oh, yeah. Nobody can account for the ambulance, but I will keep talking. Don't you worry. I'll do some quick housekeeping, actually, because there's a few little bits and pieces. If you're joining us for this show, first of all, thank you for making the effort to show up live. Really appreciate that. If you want to make a comment, I can see that a few people have done that already. But if you do want to make a comment, there's a couple of places to do that. Probably the easiest place is to send people here. Share this whilst Piccia. Oh, she's back. But share this anyway. wpbuilds.com/live. Once more, just so that it's in your head, wpbuilds.com/live. If you go over there, you've got two choices for comments. Don't say we don't give you a choice, because we give you a choice. You can either be logged into YouTube or a Google account, and you can use the big box on the right-hand side. If you're on a mobile, it'll be underneath the video. Or actually embedded in the video, like literally inside the video, top right is a little thing which says live chat, and you can use that, and that means that you don't need to be logged into anything, which might suit you. The other option is to use a Facebook account which is streaming this. It's in our Facebook group or our Facebook page, but we don't know who you are unless you do this one thing. Go to wave.video/lives/Facebook and then give Facebook permission to let us know who you are. You can, of course, be anonymous if you like, but where's the fun in that? So there you go. That's the best thing. So once more, feel free to share it. I would love it if you did. wpbuilds.com/.
So to that very useful housekeeping, Nathan, I shall add that I think, I haven't checked, I am broadcasting live on LinkedIn, but I'm not going to be checking the comments on that. So if anyone comments on LinkedIn, well, I'm going to have to answer later, I guess.
Unless they come in over here and I will see them. Let's see, because we've got 3 comments that have come in, and maybe these have come in onto your LinkedIn. I don't know.
No, they're on YouTube, because I've got the.
They're on YouTube. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I love to I really love it. I love to interact with the
I'm not sure.
audience.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure if LinkedIn. I think they've got a policy against giving commentary to these kind of video
Right.
platforms. So
I
I'm
hope
not sure if
so.
we can ever get those sorts of comments. So anyway, if you are watching on LinkedIn, head to wpbuilds.com/live and you comment there. But first of all, hello, Alicia. Very nice
Hi,
to have you with
Alicia.
us. Brilliant. And
And
Paul
Elaine.
Pearson
Paul
says
Pearson,
hi
hello.
as well. Thank you. And Elaine Rogers joining us.
Hello.
Lovely to be here, Piccia. So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the format of the show that we used to have, it used to be that we would take user submitted content and we would go through that show. Tell us how we're varying it and tell us how we're doing this differently this time.
We're doing things differently because usually it was always the main theme of the show was UX audits. So people would submit a website and I would look at it, and that usually sparked quite interesting conversations. And I would also we also had a section about deceptive design, so-called dark patterns. It's not going to vary that much, but what I really want to do now is do these audits for not-for-profit websites, because this is kind of what I do for a living. And these audits, even if I do say so myself, but I don't actually, my clients say that they are super, 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 super useful. And so they deserve for you to actually give them a bit more love than just tuning into a live show. But I also want to give back, and I want to really privilege not-for-profits that need help. That's what I want to do. But also, I don't want to just be tied to this, because the thing is that if you remember, Nathan, it was always, I mean, we'd always find someone, but I think I just want to talk about UX stuff or UI and accessibility topics that are close to my heart. So we're just going to do a UX UI show that will vary from week to week, although it might very well contain an audit and also probably deceptive designs that we have come across. So that was probably clear as mud.
Oh, no,
But
no, that was very,
that's
very
our
clear
nature.
mod. That was like the clearest mod
Was
you
it?
can get. It was almost like
Fab.
watery clear. That's
Fabulous.
yeah. So just a little bit of a promo for Piccia here, because she comes onto the show and she really doesn't ever promote herself. So I'm going to promote her for you. And Piccia is offering this. Obviously, she's doing this in front of your eyes, which is really nice, and she's going to give you tips that way. But if you wish to take Piccia on to do this to something that you're looking at, she has a service in order to do that, and you can find it at piccianeri.com/audits. But guess what, Piccia? Wouldn't it be cool if you could point your mobile phone at the screen because there was a handy QR code on the screen? Wouldn't that be cool? I
That would be
mean,
the coolest thing ever.
oh,
What fantastic user experience
look,
is
they
that?
overlap. That's a load of rubbish. I'll
Oh
make
my
that one
God,
go away. There we go. Look. So
that's
now,
magic.
yeah, it's magic. So now, if you want to point your phone at the screen, there you go. Look, you can point it at that, and you'll be sent to piccianeri.com/audits. In all
That is
seriousness, though,
simply
if
wonderful.
you do want to take Piccia up with her service, then please do. Obviously, like all of us, it's great to be employed and have things to do. And Piccia's got a boatload of expertise to help you get your website working, not just for you, but for all the other people that are going to be
And
using
products, not just websites.
and
We've
product.
been
Yeah,
doing
thank you.
quite a lot of that. So, having after that long preamble, I also thought that wouldn't it be great, because I'm always looking at other people's websites. But what about what I did? What about that? Let's make me squirm and cringe
Okay.
on the torture chair. So that's what I thought would be really interesting, hopefully. And I've
Okay.
got the perfect example. So before you bring it up on the screen, Nathan, I am going to say that I thought about how to approach this, and I think that the best way around it is that first of all, I do the review as if I can. Not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna conduct the review as if I had never seen this site before and I had no idea who made this. Also, I'm going to specify before we go on that my role in it is I led the UX team and sort of directed the UI. They were kind of under my direction. Whether they then listened or not is another matter. But and I led a distributed team for this project. So I was not by any means the only one doing this. So I shall be, there's a lot to consider when I talk about this site. After I've done this amazingly, gigantic effort to pretend I've got nothing to do with this site, then I will tell you the whole story, because there's loads more to it, and there are many teachable, interesting moments, in my opinion, about this project. So we'll go more into that. But let's start with the Cringe Fest, please.
Okay, Cringe Fest, here we come. So here it is. This is the website in question. What are we looking at?
Okay, so you know what we always do, Nathan? I always ask you, actually, I need to move it to the other screen. Sorry, just a sec. There you go, because I got somewhere. So what do I always do, Nathan? What do I always do? I ask you.
Well, you asked me right at the beginning, what am I supposed to do? It's like, what is the purpose of me being here? What have I being instructed to do?
Actually,
Call to action.
Let's go to the English version. Yeah. Is there a call to action here that you can see? I mean,
buy a ticket.
There are words.
There are words, but I don't see a button to buy a ticket, but there are words telling me what to do. I can either plan a visit or buy a ticket.
And do they look like links?
No.
Okay. So, right. Okay. What do we have here? So, and then what else? There are other things that I think I've brought you up well enough that what's going on here.
One of your pet peeves is not having things aligned in a way which your eye can track across the page. So, for example, all the text needs to be lined in a certain way, and in this case, you've obviously got that big green spot at the left-hand side of the text, but the text itself is all aligned. I guess there'd be something about what I'm going to call the logo at the top there. That's kind of hard to take in, because you have to back away from the site, because GNU, which I'm guessing stands for, I'm going to try it, Piccia. Here we go. The Galleria Nazionale dell'Umbria.
Almost amazing. I'm very impressed.
I'm guessing that's what it stands for, but it's difficult because it's so wide. You don't often see a logo that's as wide as the website.
No. So very well, very good, Nathan. Well done.
You. Good.
So the first thing that I do look at is what is there for me to do. And the thing is here is that all of these, I mean, there are 3 things, which is way too many. Which is which? What do you want me to do? So and actually questionable English, because discover new display, which I'm very surprised. I don't know this site. So anyway, use deep or better, perhaps. Discover new display. We need the article. We discover the new display, our new display, wouldn't you say? Okay. So, and I can't, if these are links, then we need for them to be underlined, to say the least, or actually it should be a button.
I was going to say,
these are headings.
Button should be a button there.
Because you use links. Links are for reference, and buttons are for action. So we really need a button here. And then, of course, at the top, this is just, so this image is very beautiful, amazing detail. However, I can barely see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Not only is it tiny, it's super tiny, but because they've gone for transparent, I can't see. So never have text on top of a background image like this, and I can barely see there's a menu here. So I'm going to do what I always do, kind of I'm going to use the wave tool. So the wave tool is an accessibility checker that has it's useful for certain things. It actually is kind of a demonstration of how much accessibility tools do not get, because it doesn't, so it gets it tells me 0 contrast errors, and yet this is a contrast problem because I can't read the text against the background. And if there were, God forbid, a non-stoppable video background, it wouldn't tell me that. So I'm actually surprised about missing alternative text. So important. This website is all about images. How are you not putting alternative text on the images. That's really, but what I'm interested at is also is the structure. So we actually, what have they done here? They haven't used it in H1, which why not? You need a page title, and they haven't. Oh, what's discover our artwork? So there are two H2s, and they've used a heading to style a call to action, which is just completely confusing. So this already fails quite a few basic things. So, but there are no so I don't know this. I need to remind myself that I do not know this project. So what I always do, is I click on discover new display, because I always, if there's a call to action, I click on it. So
A lot
from
of the problems have just gone right away on this page. This is so much better.
This is so simple. So today the gallery is open from 8:30 to 7:30. Okay, good. New display from the 1st of July of what year? We don't know the year. I would recommend actually putting the year. So the recent complete renovation, because was it 20? I think it was 1st of July 2022 actually. No, I don't, because I don't know the project. So
No,
how would
you've no idea, Peach.
Anyway,
You're
it's
making it up.
no idea, absolutely no idea. So for those who don't know, I actually trained as an art historian, so I know this painting, even if I don't know the project. I'm bowled over by the magnificence of this medieval room, and I love everything about it. So this is nice and really readable. Borderline too long, the lines, but still it's okay. Yeah, okay. So what do we have here?
Slider.
What do we have here,
It's a
Nathan?
slider. It's the dreaded
It is a
slider.
slider. And guess what? It's so hard to even tell it is a flipping slider. Look
Is
at the
that little
commands. They
button
are
that you're
so
hovering over now? Is that
tiny.
the left and the right option? That little teeny
Yes.
tiny. Look at that.
Impossible to and also the little dots down there are so tiny. So again, the wave isn't even picking up on that. Which, let me see the structure quickly. Oh, there's no paragraphs. So someone who uses a screen reader comes here and has absolutely no idea what is going on this page, what the topic is, what the no alt text. So
look at this curious thing as well. I don't know if it's a product of Wave being invoked, but look, the header is not quite at the top. The text is scrolling.
I tell you why.
Yeah.
Well spotted, Nathan.
Thank
Why?
you.
Because this is a sticky header, and really you shouldn't. It's much better to avoid sticky headers. Hands up, I used to always have sticky headers. I thought it was such a great UX idea, so people would always know where they were and could easily navigate somewhere else. But they're really bad for accessibility, because they and for responsiveness, because they clog up the page. And sometimes, especially if you need more room, either because you're in a smaller viewport or if you're using some types of assistive technology, then it's really hard to work out what's on the page. But because they haven't used any headings, then nobody knows what is going on this page until they have to read it all. So the reason why you need headings and you need proper HTML structure is also that you're helping people to come here and can't actually see the page for any reason. It doesn't even need to be someone who's blind. It may be that you're using Alexa because you're cooking and you want to know what's on the new display.
Right.
And so without headings, then the only way you're going to know what is on the page is to read it all, and it's not that short, the page. So that's another problem that this page edge has. And back to our culprit, the slider. So it has one good thing going for it. What is it, Nathan?
It's
in the hot seat.
No, I don't know what the good thing about it is. Oh, it's not auto scroll. It's staying where it is. So basically, for all intents and purposes, right now it's an image. It's not moving on and confusing us.
So
yeah.
Exactly. It's not giving me a headache or making me seasick or anything like that. But look how tiny, well, of course, these commands, but also the dots here. And I don't think I can use I can't use a keyboard to navigate it. So,
Oh.
so many people will not be able to see this. So what's the point of hiring a photographer to take really good images of a beautiful place that you spent billions refurbishing if then people can't actually see them, which is a thing that with sliders is like most people don't look at them anyway. So what's the point? So, and also I don't think that yes, you can use old text in slider images, but these don't have them because I bet they don't. Because when we have wave up, it said 15 errors, and I bet, yeah, missing alternative text.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
One
then
good thing about that slider, from a speed point of view, I've been doing this show with Sabrina Zidane all about speed. Is it does look like it's lazy loading them, so it's
yeah,
not putting all 15 or whatever images in right at the beginning. So that's making it a little bit quicker. It's loading them more slowly. There's more about that on the show that I do with Sabrina, but yeah.
yeah,
So.
which sounds really great. I haven't had time to watch it yet, but I'll be super interested because I used to dismiss speed as something that, nice to have. I mean, obviously not within limits, but I have now realized that it is a major UX and accessibility feature. And I
Yep.
was recently at a conference in Germany, not a WordPress conference,
Hmm.
a conference called Beyond Tellerrand, where I watched the most interesting talk on speed and web performance by a woman called Tammy. And because I am old and we made friends, I don't remember her surname, but it was so interesting. She was talking about how memory works, how a sense of time works. So many incredibly interesting sides into why you can't make people wait. So yes,
Okay.
anyway, one of our many digressions. So yes, I will watch the show. Thank you, Nathan.
You're
Next
welcome.
Thursday, which is tomorrow.
Which is tomorrow.
Um,
Just a quick one. Alicia has dropped in a comment, by the way, and it was about the previous page where the text
right.
was on the
Yeah.
background. And she says, "Yeah, contrast checkers don't take into account the background images, so nav is assumed to be on that olive background."
Which
Interesting.
doesn't help
No.
because yeah, exactly. Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, that's a very good point. So no point to this slider for anyone really. And then I come here and it's like, okay, the new display, but I haven't really discovered much about it, have I? There's absolutely zero that is interactive about this.
What did you
Where do I go
click on
from
to get
here?
there? What was the actual link that you clicked?
I clicked on the big title, the discover, the big title, this one,
Okay.
discover new display.
Okay, great. So I was
Um,
thinking it was one of like the buy a ticket one, in which case I was thinking, hang on a minute.
no. Well, because the buy the ticket is not what I'm going to look at, because buy the ticket, apart from the fact that, again, it doesn't look like an action taking thing, I need to be there. This is an actual physical. Actually, I haven't said what it was because let's assume that at least I do know that, even though I don't know the project. The Galleria Nazionale dell'Umbria is a museum in Italy, in the center of Italy, in a town called Perugia. So let's say that I know this as I land on the site, but I am in Spain currently. So I'm not going to buy the ticket for the permanent exhibition. I may be interested in finding out how much it costs. But actually, as an Italian resident abroad, this is a state museum that let me in for free. I don't know why. It's one of the very few advantages. I'll take it. So let's go back here. So what do I do now? I haven't really discovered anything. There's a wall of text with a few images that I can't see, and I haven't really there's not even any internal links. None.
Yeah.
What? Is that all there is to this site? So as far as um, with the thumbnail gallery, we've got a comment. Sorry, I can't help seeing the comments.
No, it's okay. It says Nero's asking, so I guess we're talking about the slider at the
Thumbnail
bottom.
gallery.
Would a thumbnail gallery be a better option? Well, you'd certainly see all the images, wouldn't you? You'd have to be mindful of how you loaded them and how big they were and all of that. But,
Yeah. Yes, yes, it would be. It would be better. The thing is that it's a really long. The slider could work, but you have to do it properly. I mean, the thing about the slider is that people will not go through it. So if you really want the images to be seen, why don't you create a story around them? For instance, have one big image with a description, not just for the screen reader, because not everybody uses a screen reader, but not everybody is able to understand an image. Like, for instance, here, if you don't know medieval art the way I do, what's the point of this crucifix here? What does it mean? Why?
Mm.
What is it? So why don't you create a real story? And uh, what are these statues? Why are they there? What is completely? What is this? I actually do obviously I do happen to know what this is, and it's a wonderful story. So why wouldn't you tell it? It's not just the chapel. It's as what do you think? What strikes you as perhaps slightly odd about this image, Nathan?
Something. Well, the stained glass windows. They look modern in a non-modern setting.
Exactly. That is the whole point. So there is a story to tell about this, but even whether you know anything about the story or not, there's definitely a story to tell about this photo, and there's no story told here.
Can I just
So
say that's the first sensible thing I've ever said about art in my life. So I'm feeling quite pleased with myself there.
I'm sure that is bound to be an exaggeration, Nathan. I
No,
am
usually I
sure.
look at things and say, I like that, or I don't like that. That's the level of
Well,
commentary I have. So I'm quite proud of myself there. Anyway, sorry, that's
probably you
not what.
should be, definitely. No, you should definitely be proud of yourself. And yeah, so that's the whole point. So I believe in images. This is also, let's not forget that this is a museum, it's a gallery. It wants people to visit it. It wants people to get on the train, get in the car, and get to Perugia, which is not that easy to get to, and visit it. So they want people to see the images and think, "Oh my God, that looks amazing! I want to go see it myself."
Yeah, you've
So
really
it,
got a point there. It's not doing that, is it? It's really, really
not
not.
at
It's
all.
almost like a site from the 1990s, if you know what I mean. There's nothing
Oh,
helpful
don't
here.
I know
Yeah,
what I mean? What you mean? I
yeah.
so know what you mean. And in a minute, I'm going to unmask and go back to my actual. So then, the what's it? So the as an auditor who doesn't know the project, let's say. So then I would just go, okay, buy the ticket. I want to see where this takes me. Not interesting at all. This is an external site. Okay, so then plan the visit. How do I plan the visit? Would you like to plan your visit? This page contains useful information. Okay, where we are, no link to the map. Thanks a bunch. I mean, really, in 2023, there's no link to the map. Opening times. Okay, useful. Extraordinary openings. Look at the line spacing here and the separation of the blocks. National Unity and Armed Forces Day. Saturday does. I mean, there are
Yep,
a
I'm
few.
with you. I
Yeah,
saw that.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're with me. Grammar police out in force. Um, so okay, so who's gonna read this? Maybe they just have to see it, this to say it. Okay, so this is information, but it's not really helping me plan. Whether you live, you can by plane. Really, that's the first thing that
You're gonna. They only want the billionaires, Piccia.
the shuttle bus.
Yeah.
That's one way. Okay, so by car, you can use the Saba car parks. So now I am someone who has driven to Perugia, and she has not found it terribly easy. And also, look, no, you're not. So basically, I would feel a little bit. So this is helpful. So they've got lifts and wheelchairs and audio guides and Wi-Fi. Actually, I know that they've really worked. Let's say I'm me. So let's go over. So you now know that I've been quite ruthless with my own product.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Are we satisfied with that? I want to see what the structure here. Okay, so the structure is okay. There's no H1,
No
which
H1
I
on
just
anything.
can't
No.
because they haven't given the page a
A
title.
title. Yeah.
So this the reason why I find this project so interesting to talk about is that so this is my project, and like I said, I led the the UX and UI team on it. And you have to understand how Italian institutions work. It's a flipping nightmare. So I have been waiting for a year and 9 months, coming up to 8 months, for the project to restart, because there was a previous website that between 2021 and 2022 we worked on to rebuild. We were redoing it from scratch, scrapping the old one, because, and that's why I was laughing earlier, Nathan, when you said that the slider looked like it was out of the 90s. That is exactly what the previous website looked like.
Yeah.
And the team that had worked on it were like, yeah, you'll see what we mean. Because the UI team, the people who designed it, are an incredibly creative and clever and really imaginative Italian design studio that work mostly with Italian cultural institutions, and we've become really good friends. They're great. They I love it. I think the typography is great. And so what they were trying to tell me before we sort of got to meet one another was like, you have no idea what you're dealing with. It's like, definitely, I've worked with so many cultural institutions, and it's one of the reasons why I left Italy, because between 93 and 98, I was running, I set up with some friends that I worked in an art gallery with, a publishing company for the arts. So we were designing and producing books and catalogs for exhibitions for galleries and museums all over Italy. It made me leave the country. I'm exaggerating, but more or less. In the UK, I have worked with the National Gallery, the Tate Gallery, the British Museum, the British Council, and it was a bit different, just because they have much more freedom. I am not blaming the amazing people that work at the gallery, none of them, because they busted, they their asses to make anything work, because we were rebuilding at this site, and at the same time the gallery was being refurbished. The opening day, the private view of the new setup was the 30th of June 2022, and we got to 5 days before it was due to open. Our side was done as much as we could do, and I got a call saying, "Yeah, can you help?" Because basically, if I hadn't sort of slightly given up on my beach holiday, or I didn't give up on it entirely, but basically, we had a site and we had no content, because nobody in the museum had any time at all to actually input the content. So
Ooh.
I did that, and the saint that is Alice Orru, who is a WordPress person as well. Some of you may have seen her talk at many WordCamps, including WordCamp Europe 2022, where she gave a fantastic workshop on alt text, which
Oh
is
yeah.
free
Yep.
on WordPress TV. So look for it in case you ever wonder how to use alt text. It's brilliant. I'm in it. I think I had a row with someone in during the workshop, so you can get entertained at the same time. So yeah, well, there was some mansplaining going on. Yeah. So that's the kind of situation that you're dealing with, and it's 1,000% nobody's fault. So at that point, the director told me, we are going, actually he told me in March, by the time after the big opening, what we're going to do is we are going to go with a second phase, because we were all very clear this website is not finished. Because my wonderful plan for the website was to make it really interactive, because I thought, what a fantastic opportunity. We have a digital home for an institution that is very, very much of the territory. I mean, it's been there. The palace, actually, we are now going to go into the menu, because I haven't finished roasting our own work. the palace that is set in, which I am going to show. Ooh, the menu has got so many problems. Look at the photo that they put up.
Oh,
This
wow.
wasn't me.
So
So, but
big.
it's an amazing place, and they are so integrated with the territory. Like, for instance, there's a very important jazz festival in Perugia, and they have lots of the concerts in there. They do. They are really part of the local, of the city life. So I thought it was what a fantastic opportunity to create digital experiences that really uh, join the physical experience that is inevitable and the most important part of a museum, but also let's replicate some form of that digitally. And I was thinking this is going to be my,
It's going to be
my
your big
signature
moment.
piece, my big
Yeah.
moment, and here we are. so, so, so I've been, and I'm, there is a happy ending, because even though I am not holding my breath because I fear certain death, it sounds as if it will pick up again. We will do this again, and we will sort out all the things, because there are so many things that this site should do and that it doesn't do. And I can completely understand what the team were trying to tell me when they were saying, yeah, we would have liked that for the previous site as well. And yet here we are. Because also so many teachable moments, Nathan. One of them was that, so the way I structured the work, because when you work with a fully distributed team, you having meetings is super stressful.
Yeah.
Video meetings,
Yeah.
especially for people that have a very demanding physical job that is in the building, and maybe they're running up and down the stairs a million times, and they've got renovation works being done in the floor below, and there's always some problem, and they had lots of stuff going on, so you need to make it count. So I set up, I would call them, they were weekly working sessions, and I always had deliverables for that week, and I always had an agenda, so that people would know that at the end of it we were ticking boxes and we were actually getting work done, not having a meeting. Did I always succeed? Probably not, but I did try. So my main goal was to make this the most interactive site ever, and I haven't achieved that yet. So the teachable moment that I was gonna talk about is that the director of this museum was unbelievably busy. So busy. I mean, a museum director always is, but because they had the refurbishment and lots of other things going on, then it was even worse. So he was hardly ever in the meetings, but I trusted that things would get relayed to him. And I didn't insist on what I feel is an absolute imperative. And anybody listening, I know that you know this already probably, but implement it every single time. Make it an absolute cast in iron rule that the decision maker needs to be in the room. Because we did so much research on this. I am adamant that the more research you do, the easier the job is. So we did a lot of research on what other museums do, because there are lots of beautiful other museums. And we got to the conclusion, all of us as a team, that it would be more accessible and better for a number of reasons to not have background full bleed images or full bleed images. That was our conclusion. The director wasn't in the room when we decided this, but a lot of the other decisions were based on this. So there was and the homepage was based on this collectively taken decision. When we unveiled the homepage to the director, he hated it because there were no full bleed background images. Why? Because he just spent a fortune on getting these gigabyte pictures that are unbelievably detailed, and that are there's no way you can ever see this painting at this level of detail, even without zooming in further the way we're seeing it now. They are amazing. They're an incredible tool for research. They are incredible, for our historical research. So he was like adamant that this needed to happen, but it happened so late that it caused so many problems. Or other things like we had really, because this is a huge site, you have no idea how big this site is, and I'm going to go into it a minute. And so he'd say we'd work on information architecture, really spending a lot of time making it as sensible as possible. And then someone would submit it to him, not me, not in a meeting. And he would say, oh, no, I'd like this page and this page. And so they would come back to me and I'd be like, no. So I'd have to spend like 3 days having to rejig it and say, come back with an answer saying, maybe do a video saying, see, these are the reasons why we got to this decision. And then the director, who's a very intelligent, great person, would say, oh yeah, obviously, yeah, I see that. Okay, cool.
Made the decision themselves, yeah.
Oh my God. So the other interesting thing about this is that as I was doing this, I got commissioned by Balsamic to do a course, a free course on the whole process. So I was documenting the process, and I was explaining everything that we did with the user personas, user journeys, and content first, accessibility, and everything. And they were publishing these. And after the website got online, and I had people coming up to me and saying, writing to me and say, yeah, I really like the videos. Thank you so much. But why doesn't the website do any of the things that you recommend? Because I was saying, you need to underline links, you need to put the headings, you need to do content design, you need to do this. We use the personas. And they were like, yeah, see, none of that. And I was like, oh, so here you are learning another really valuable lesson on the difference between a dream UI and actual real life.
Yeah, what you would like to do and what the reality of businesses and organizations will actually let you do. Yeah.
Exactly. But like I said, it's absolutely nobody's fault, because no one more than the director would like for this project to have gone the way that we wanted, because there's a whole huge digital archive, which is one of the most incredible digital archives ever in Italy. And there are some, no other museum has anything quite comparable to this. And the amount of time that we spent on the wireframes of the work descriptions, on the SEO work for it, and so on. And now, where is it? Where even is it? There's nothing that leads you to it. And we'd created user personas for all the different types of people that would visit the museum. And that's another reason why I find that a museum is such an interesting case study, because you really do have so many different personas. We had the European tourist who drives down with her grandchildren, which is, quite a young grandmother. And so she needs to know how to get there really quickly. She needs to work out whether she'd rather go by car or not. She needs to know where the restaurant is. One of the children is celiac, so it needs to be a gluten-free restaurant. The other one is the researchers who knows the museum inside out. They need to find their way to the collection, digital collection, as soon as possible. The other user persona is a punter like me. So I'm an art historian, but I'm not practicing anymore. But I have a different approach to how I see the site and how I want to use it. And I wanted to make it such an amazing interactive experience. So the videos are so great, because in the first video of our case study course, we talk about site analysis and competitive research, the two main activities when starting a website redesign project. Absolutely true. Please do this. And it helped hugely. And the thing is that now that we have all of this, it would be so much easier to pick it all up again. I don't have to do that now. And the user personas that I created are totally valid. What happened as well with this is something else that happens a lot with clients, and that is that you end up doing what is called UX theater, which is a really good
Ooh,
concept that while I'm talking, you could look it up, because I want to credit
okay.
the woman that
UX theatre.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a woman that came up with the definition, and I want to credit her because some people have been using. It's
Is
a
it
really
theatre
interesting
the
concept.
English spelling or theatre the American spelling? Do you
I
know?
think it's the English spelling. I
Okay.
think. Well, that's how what I would do it.
Is it
So
the
what I
Fountain
would.
Institute?
No, see,
No,
they've
okay.
stolen the concept. Anyway, if not, I'll put it in the comments later.
Coined by Spider Girl.
That's it. That's her. Spider Girls coined
Okay.
it.
All right.
And what it means is that when you do things like user personas, but they're only based on the client's uh, the client's perspective, and you actually haven't spoken to one single real user.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that happened a little bit, and again, it was one of the things. Yeah. We're gonna set up the surveys. Yeah. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And bar some accessibility testing, which did happen, we didn't actually do it. But again, really honestly, when I speak to them and they explain, absolutely exhausted, the reasons why the project hasn't restarted again yet, are like, oh god, I'm so happy I don't work for the Italian government the way you do. So there are lots of good reasons, but in a way it's more interesting this way, because you can then learn a lot and think about, I've had a lot of time to think about it, and it's been really funny that this is pretty much exactly the same as the site that I found. The only difference was that it had an actually unstoppable slider on the hero on the homepage, and now it doesn't. But really it does nothing. And if we go, so let's carry on with the audit. So what's wrong with this? I think this can be done accessibly, but what's wrong with it is that it's way too spaced out. There's no need for it to occupy all this space. Gestalt law of proximity, these elements are so far from one another that they don't belong to the same group. And also, if I go hover over, there's nothing telling me that these are links. And
No.
because it
No.
doesn't even look like a menu, this is just random words on a page. So also the events, it's just there's nothing enticing me to do anything. And like I said, the events are, we have a few accessibility issues here in terms of visual UI. So events and activities, this is not updated. Look, since when they haven't updated it. They fired
Oh,
someone out,
yeah.
because what I really wanted them to do was to hire someone to look after the content, and they have done that. So that's going to happen. That's going to be brilliant. So look at these buttons here. I can barely see them. Now contrast errors, 0 contrast errors. So that's insane. That's why you should not trust
Your eyesight. Yeah.
your eyesight or Wave as a checker, because not only are these the gray of these buttons, I'm really surprised that it is considered accessible. It's so faint, but also there's nothing telling me that these are interactive elements. They're just very pale gray blobs. The typeface on it is so thin and so small, I can literally barely see it. And when I hover over, the button completely
It kind of
disappears.
goes
So
away, doesn't it? Yeah.
it goes away. So how do I know if it's active? In fact, it's not active, because there's nothing happens, obviously. Only the archive is gonna work. So yeah, so back to the menu. So let's have a look at the collection. So this was to be the most amazing thing. There was going to be parts directing to it, like digital itineraries, and because it's really an amazing thing that they have, and we really need to rethink about this, because you land here and you're like, and so what? So what now? What next? What do we do? So yeah. But
I
what
guess
I really
is
was
each of those a little archive of some other things, like 16 Politico
No.
pictures, 52
Yeah,
gigapixel
I
pictures.
I suppose so. So what happens if I click on it? So it's like a search term. They put a search term
And then does
there,
it search below? Oh,
but
okay.
it doesn't look. No, because
No,
these
they're
are
the
not
same, are they?
elliptics. They're not epileptic is something like this. So it's a painting made of a number of smaller paintings. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Oh,
From
okay.
poly meaning
Many.
multiple,
Yeah.
many. Yeah. Um, so so
Alicia's chiming in again. She says, I bet the contrast checker
catches
catches
that
that
white
white
and
on
gray,
grey.
and it didn't.
When you
Oh
were
yeah. Oh no,
hovering,
hang
when
on.
you.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Now we've got a contrast error at least, because I have to say that the developers working on this were amazing, and they were my. So see, there's no heading here,
Mm.
so nothing. So a someone using assistive technology has no. I don't know how they would navigate this page. I don't know how they would. They wouldn't find out about the content at all, but I don't know how they would navigate it. So, but then again, when I click on this, Politico, doesn't give me polyptics, gives me whatever was there before, I think. It doesn't actually give me anything, does it? I
No,
think
it
it's the
looks.
same
Is it the
page.
same? Yeah, that's kind
I
of weird.
think it
Maybe some
is.
of them fall into multiple categories by coincidence, and we're just seeing the same thing.
No, it's just the same page.
It doesn't
So,
appear to do anything that it's supposed to do, though, does it? It's
no,
kind of weird.
it doesn't. So I'm kind of thinking now that I'm looking, I should revise my new quote. No, I will do it anyway because I mean the team is great, everybody is fantastic, the place is fabulous. It's a great project to be involved in, and I am so happy that the opportunity will come again to make it amazing, because something that we've already done and we've got is I was working with the curators and with the education department, because one of my ideas was for one of our personas, let's say it's actually for any of our personas really, but for the ones that don't know the museum and that don't know the city so well, why don't we create itineraries using, maybe I was looking at quiz or forms, to build a really nice itinerary with conditional logic that would send you in different places according to what you like. Like, for
Yep.
instance, we had
Yep.
an
Well,
architecture
that's a nice idea. Yeah. Yeah.
itinerary. Yeah, I shouldn't say it publicly because no other museum has done it yet, and I really want to be the first one to do it. But it's a lot of work, so I think that a lot of museums don't have this as a priority. But so how. So you want to get to Perugia. How are you gonna get here? By public transport? Do you have your own transport, or by own private plane, as they seem to imply?
Yeah.
So instead of having something static like a page like that, actually have a sort of guided questionnaire that would give you your best option, and that would be printable, or an itinerary through the city, taking in the main sites, because the museum contains lots of works that are taken from local churches, for instance. So you can always lead him back to the museum, because you don't necessarily want people to leave the museum, but you want to bring them back to it. But they also are there to see the city, because it's a wonderful city. So why not combine the two things and keep giving people a reason to go back to the collection? Because what they did with the digital archive, and what they did with the detailed images, which we may, so these gigapixel images, if something happens, nothing happens. I can't actually get
No,
into
it's very
it.
strange, that, isn't it? I don't know what it's
I
for.
can't get into it because the detail, so it's not one of them, so there's no way for me to tell which ones they are, because the number of ideas that we had on how to make this tool a really amazing tool. But you see, even though I don't know whether this is a gigapixel image, it might be.
It's
But look at
certainly
the
very
level of
detailed, yeah.
detail. It's
It looks like
amazing.
it's loading. Each time you zoom in, it kind of has
Yeah.
another try at loading. So something, wow, that really is
And it
detailed.
seems like remarkably fast for what it's doing. Because I was saying earlier, the developers that did this are saints and very, very, very good at their job. And this is done entirely in Gutenberg. And
Oh,
they,
neat.
the blocks that they build,
Yeah.
they've done it on purpose so that it would be really easy to edit everything. Technically, we're not gonna. This is perfect. There's a lot that has been done already. We just need to really build the experience. This is a site that's completely missing the experience for the user, and
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
We're gonna have to end it in a minute, Piccia. I know.
We are. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
You've used up your entire allotment of time. Allotment, that's a thing that you go and farm in. I think that'll work. Your allocation of time has been used.
My allocation of time has been used.
We're going to try and be thoughtful about doing this each and every month. I'm going to put a little calendar on the homepage of WP Builds with events such as this in, so that you can put things in your calendar and things like that. So hopefully that will come soon. But we will be back in a month's time, and hopefully Piccia will have something new to say. Just one quick little plug for Piccia again. If you fancy checking out her audit services, go to piccianeri.com/audits, and you can pick up some of the bits and pieces that she's got on offer there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to knock it on the head, as we say in the UK, meaning that we're gonna have to call it a day here. I'll send you a copy of this Piccia as soon as it's done.
Thank you very much.
But, if you want to stick on the phone, as it were, the line, we'll organise that date after we've done. But anything you want to add before we call it a day?
No, just thank you very much for having me. Thank you to the wonderful team of the Galleria Nazionale dell'Umbria for their amazing work. And we will make it so much better. I hope to do, like in a year's time, a new show on how brilliant it is now.
Oh, okay. We'll come back in 12 months' time and we'll do that one again. All right, Piccia, I will see you.
Wonderful.
See you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.